And if you have any questions about the science of mind, spiritual principles, now is a good time to inquire.
I have a question from YouTube, from Rochelle Shelley. How to go deep? What does that mean?
The statement to go deep is to go beyond your initial reaction and your initial thoughts about whatever the situation is or about whatever's happening to you. To go beyond what is the obvious to that which is the cause. What is the belief behind what is happening with you? What is it that you are believing, and what is it that you are thinking that is creating the situation in front of you? So your initial reaction, say, could be anger. But anger, behind all anger is fear. So the question would be, what am I afraid of? That's going deeper. Any of the other practitioners want to respond?
You can kind of think of it as like looking at an onion. When you see an onion, you see that skin, and is that the onion? Yeah, but as you peel that skin back, you get more into the meat of it. That's when the tears start. That's when you get the fumes. So going deeper is peeling back those layers, that first skin of the onion. And then it's kind of like, I kind of smell a little onion, and you peel back some more. And then it really gets, so till you get to the initial, to the true sense of what it is that's got you feeling the way you feel or thinking what you think.
I was thinking about it as it relates to meditation. For me, I don't know about everybody else, but when you first sit to meditate, your mind is going, and maybe it stops going that many, and maybe just going and then finally you reach a place where you can feel that you're in a different space. For me, it's usually near the end of the time I'm going to meditate, but it's a feeling of moving out of this into this. So that's, for me, is the feeling of going deeper.
Donna Brown, you have a question?
Oh, I was just saying maybe an example, but you sort of day-to-day, an example of going deep that may really relate or give a more relevant experience, not abstract. I mean, I was asking for an example.
Right, and
I have one. No, I really do. At work, I have someone who works for me, and we had an interaction, and we have a really good relationship. And in this instance, he began to tell me what I should not do and what I should do. And usually I am really even. And I felt something come up in me, and I said basically to him, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. And I came out of a place that I don't usually inhabit. And I had to really sit and think with that. What was that about? What was it that triggered in me that reaction? And I started to think back, and I could hear my mother saying, you don't tell me what to do. I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds familiar. But the more I sat with it, the more I sat with the idea of what Sandy said, of fear that he was trying to be an authority over me. And it also came from race consciousness that this man was not going to get in my face and tell me what to do. But I had to sit with it, and I'm still sitting with it because I've been away for a week, and now I'm getting ready to go back to work on Monday, to really decide, how am I going to approach this, and what place am I going to be in to actually interact from a place of love with this person?
Good morning. I don't really know the wording of my questions. You have to bear with me a little bit. I have a very tumultuous relationship with God, with organized religion in general, and I struggle when we go through things and we use the word God, because so much of my upbringing, I've seen God used in a negative way and use God as a pretext for killing and war and all those different things. So what words do you guys interchange with that when you struggle with it? Because I believe in the spirituality. I believe in the idea of we all come from a good place and a loving place. We want to share that together. But when I literally hear songs that use the word God, it triggers me. Not just me.
Yeah.
You're home.
There are quite a few different words that you can use. Ultimate reality, omnipotence. You can use divine presence, the thing itself, and the list can go on.
And one of the things you said, from a pleasant place, the same words that you used, that represents God to you. Because it really comes down to it after you left where you were, what is your concept of God? God is everything. Everything. So whatever word you choose from a good place, joy, peace, whatever word you use, whatever works for you, whatever feels right for you, that's what God is. And God is you in form.
I'd like to say that God is a presence. God is not a man, a woman, or anything outside of you. And I think that's what. So you know, you don't have this person or this ultimate something that's coming down on you. God is within you. It is a presence within you, whatever you call it, as we just said. But it is not outside of you. It is a presence within you, and you may call it it. You may call it divine mind. You'll find all of those terms in our readings. But the real important thing is God is within you, not outside of you, and not separate from you.
I understand that question exactly because I've been raised in a Baptist church, and we're raised in a traditional church to think of God in heaven out there somewhere. For me, that's why even I have problems when I say the word God. It's like I'm schizophrenic in here. I'm going like, okay, I know that's not what I'm talking about. So for me, I like to think of, and I don't like to use that, although it comes out automatically. So I think of God as spirit, as energy, because that's what we are.
Yep.
We are energy. And that helps me understand how we say God is everywhere and everything in all things, because it is energy. That's a scientific fact. Energy. And we are 99.99% energy that has created us. So I'm getting to a place now that I think of as we're almost like we're holograms. Where we see this, but we are not in actuality solid. Mm-hmm. So that's why we can say easily that we are God. We are a representation of God. We are energy formed to create this thing that we see, that I see. But I often say, and I teach a lot of times, in essence, because we're 70% water, we should be flowing, right? But we're not. So that's why it's easier for me to think of God as this energy, this life form of the quantum field, the matrix. That's ultimate. Everything is made out of the same. And that's how we can say God is everything, because everything's made out of molecules, which is 99% energy, which is what we are. So I understand that it is something we just have to mentally put in our head. When we're saying God, we're really talking about energy. And that's why we can say, you're God, I'm God. Love, feelings, they're all energy. Everything.
I just wanted to add to that you'll see God in print or a lot of our publications, but you will also see practitioners when praying in songs. We're referring to the source, the creator, the divine mind, the divinity. So sometimes when you're speaking or reading mentally, I know for me, I replace it with the creator when I say affirmations, the creator, the source, the one mind. So as you go deeper, you will acquire what fits best for you. Okay, but it's all the same.
I have a question. Anybody else going to respond to that? Because I have a question.
No, I wanted to say one more thing. I heard a practitioner speak, and she said, I got tired of trying to find 15 names for God. And she said, I just call it Herman or Hermine. She said, I understand that. I know exactly what that means, and that's it.
Yeah, we got one question on Facebook. It's,
Can't hear you. You're not up.
Maybe it's not on.
am I up?
No?
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question was from Patricia Watson, and it's a question that she's been asked, and it is, what is the science of mind? So
She added to that question, she said, and how is it different from traditional Christian religions? Same question.
I want to say something. We just came back from convention, and one of the speakers said, and he knew that when he said it, it was going to shake some people up in the audience. What he said was, I've come to the conclusion that we are actually living the teachings of Jesus, not Christianity as it is. So just say, it's the teachings of Jesus without hell. Which I thought.
Yeah, and he I think he also said, because we teach oneness,
Yes.
we teach love, we teach forgiveness.
But also one of the things that we've said, or what I learned as a practitioner, was that it's a science, it's a combination, it's a philosophy, a science, and a religion. You put all that stuff together and come out with what resonates with you. And the best part about it is that there really is no dogma. And Reverend Sheila used to always say, it's open at the top. Doesn't keep you from exploring anything else that you might want to explore to feed yourself and your soul.
We believe that all paths lead to God, whatever you want to call God. But there is no heaven. There's no heaven or hell, because it's all right here. You know, we are living the presence of God. We are co-creating with your God, with the divine mind. We are in partnership for our life with the divine mind.
And Dr. Ernest Holmes refers to it as applied Christianity. Applied. It's not just words. It's written that this is what Jesus said, and that's what we follow. He said, your spirit. He said, the kingdom of heaven is within. He said, seek first the kingdom. Basically, to teach love, because, God is what we are. He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He didn't focus on the fact of what they did. Forgive them for doing... It's no longer real. It's applied Christianity.
For me, what I like about Science of Mind is that it focuses, it forces or asks us to look at ourselves, our thinking, not ask for something from someone or something outside of ourselves. So from that perspective, to me, Science of Mind is a way to evaluate my thoughts and understand how it impacts and manifests my life.
I have to say that when you said that, Zulma, I had a reaction. I had a visceral reaction. Intellectually, I understood what you said. I intellectually understood what that man said at the convention, but I had a reaction, and it was not a settling reaction. Just the whole Christianity piece kind of took me like, okay, now.
I think one of the common sayings in Science of Mind teachings, which Patricia just reminded me of, is change your thinking, change your life.
And as Patricia said, this science of mind is about personal responsibility. There's no blaming anything or anybody for what's happening in your life. It's about you going deeper and figuring out what your beliefs are that are being represented to you as your life. So if something's happening in your life that you don't like, that's disturbing to you, let's first think about what's going on within you. What are you believing? What are you thinking?
Yes, and one of our underlying teaching is oneness, that we are one with, I'll say, spirit, or one with that ultimate reality, and it is good, and all that it is ever available to us, and that's part of science of mind teaching.
I have a question here. This is from Susan Robinson. I know our teaching is to be for love and peace and to not be against anything. I have trouble staying in that. How does one stay in love when what you see and experience is cruelty, slavery, mass incarceration, and solitary confinement, which the UN says declares as a torture after 10 days? Long question. How do you stay in it? How do you stay in love when what you see and experience are those things?
I teach a course called Radical Forgiveness. And it's not saying forgive them for they know not what they do. It's saying that do not blame or do not see things outside of yourself as outside of yourself. One of the examples is a tapestry. If you've ever seen a tapestry and then you look on the back of it, and it's just a jumble of threads going everywhere. You can't see where they lead. You can't see what they're connected to. But on the front, it's a beautiful picture. We don't always know what's going on behind the tapestry. I like to think that when I see something happening, there's a reason, but I may not know the reason. When a person commits a crime or whatever, that person may have been there to learn that lesson. The fact that the result of the crime may create a situation that solves something way down the line. When you look at people who are making decisions that say, you say, that's horrible, how could they do that? Well, maybe they're making those kinds of decisions to teach us that that's not what we need to be doing, to teach everybody else that's not what we need to be doing. So there's a lesson in every circumstance, but the real lesson is to understand that God is there within every circumstance that is created or that happens. God is in that situation. It's for us to see that and to begin to change our perspective about the situation. change our perspective.
That's great.
Change your thinking, change your life.
Go ahead, Jerry. You wanna say something? That's a great.
The spiritual practices help us move through difficult situations that we can't or we don't understand, or that make us go to a place where we are emotionally reacting. And so meditation helps. Contemplation helps, because they help us practice the principle. And one of the principles of this teaching is love. And
And, you know,
yeah, treatment also, prayer, yes.
So if I may, one of the things that I think of right off, I try to simplify things because my ego always wants to complicate it. So if I'm an extension of God's love, that means I am love. Okay, that's my foundation. So I decided to incarnate in this planet of duality to learn something. So that duality experience is a hate or a fear that I have to deal with. The reset, speaking kind of in a computer or like a machine kind of term, the reset for that is forgiveness. You hit the reset. You forgive. Now, there's two ways you can forgive. You can forgive the person or the circumstance, or you can forgive yourself. And I find that to be the most important method of forgiveness. Because when someone does something to me, I have to remember that I have my own script that I'm following. They have their own script they're following. Our scripts just kind of coincide from time to time. And in my script, I obviously set the bar too high for that person.
yes, yes.
Oh my God, I didn't realize you were not capable of X, Y, Z. My bad.
Good point.
Now, I don't have to hang out with them no more. But I can forgive myself for having expectations that they couldn't meet. Yes. So that's my approach. That's all I want to say.
I wanted to say to Susan, she said, how do you stay in that place? You don't. We came here to be human beings. We're spiritual, but we're clothed in this. And so when things happen, for me, it's what is mine to do in this situation? What is it that I can do? Why am I here? Why am I experiencing it? And then I have to really think about that and sit with that. It may not be anything except hold the space. And one of the things that we talk about that's so important is the mental equivalent of what you want to see out picture.
Yeah.
And so we call ourselves the center of peace because we're holding the space for peace. So even if we don't see it in front of us, that's the space that we have to constantly be holding. And I know that given what's going on today, it's difficult, but it's the reality. And I don't think we should beat ourselves up for, snapping out when something is happening. But the truth is, you're not in that space all the time. You can't stay in that space all the time. And from my readings, if you can stay in that space all the time, then you've done what you need to do on this planet and you can leave.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that. It's about consciousness is what we're talking about. And Science of Mind and this teaching is telling us to hold that consciousness of peace and love. And the belief that if we hold it, it will change. Things do change, and I'm sure you've seen that. And the more you practice this, the more you hold that consciousness for whatever it is you desire, you will find it coming to you. Out of nowhere, out of nothing, you will have situations. So Suzanne's asking, how do we look at that? We don't look at that. We hold the vision of peace. We hold the vision of love. We hold this vision knowing even if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, it's happening. We're also aware that this teaching is saying everything is happening now. If you're in the present, as Reverend T speaks and what we talk about, the past doesn't matter, only the now, and the idea that moving forward, our vision is peace. Our vision is love. We may not see it.
Or we met.
Martin Luther King, that quote just came when I said that. We may not see it, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening now. That which we focus on is what appears in our life. So we stay focused on peace, we stay focused on love, we stay focused on forgiveness. It'll change your life. That's our teaching.
The Center of Peace has been my ground for many years, and what I did, I prayed to die, and I found out what forgiveness is all about. I had a first all-girls black band travel around the world, and my mom died. So I stopped everything, and I prayed to die. Had that accident, and had a near-death experience. Head went through the windshield, crushed my face, said I would never see again, I would never sing again, knocked my eye out, pinned by my throat, wouldn't be able to sing again, wouldn't be able to smile again. But talking about forgiveness, here I'm 80 years old now. I'm smiling, singing, got a 6-octave range. I thank God for Center of Peace for keeping me grounded and being conscious of knowing the laws of God and the divine healing spirit. Forgiveness is the main key for love and light. Ashe.
Thank you for that. And you know, that word forgiveness gives people a charge, too. How am I supposed to forgive? I've heard somebody use the word release instead of forgive. It basically is saying, let it go. Because whatever that thing is, it was what it was. It was when it was. The problem isn't the thing. The problem is that we're still holding on to it. We're talking about a way of thinking here. We're talking about changing the way we think. We're holding on to that thing, and we're reliving it and reliving it. I call it, running a bad movie with no film. You just over and over and over again. So it's not about saying that what that thing, as Jerry said, now, Father, forgive them thing. Not that, but to be able to be willing to just let it go. Just let it go, to release it. Because the truth is that you can't really not let go of what's already gone. And by trying to do that is causing us pain.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for sharing. This is really very helpful. I just wanted to say that what came to me, I don't know if she spoke on it last week or what Reverend T said about relationship. To remember that it is a ship. Okay, that sometimes it's going to be rocky, sometimes the waters will be calm, but if you commit to the relationship, then you go with the flow. And that has really, I'm sharing that because it's been really, when she said that, it was like, oh, okay, no wonder this isn't working. Because you want it to be okay, you want everybody to be okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're committed to that consciousness, and when it's not, it feels very uncomfortable, but to think of it as a ship, to know that it's going to be rocky sometimes. The thing is just to know that you're in a ship and to not rock the boat. Thank you.
I wanted to say that the other thing to remember in this teaching is that we believe that God is good. Mm-hmm. Always. Mm-hmm. So if you believe that God is good, then you look for the good in everything. And in everyone, because we're all one.
That triggered me, because because see, Webster's dictionary. We're taught duality, so we think, well, if that's good, then what about this bad? These things that Susan just mentioned. What about those things? And what I forget, is that it really is all God. It's all God. See, we tend to define slavery or murder or rape or whatever as bad, but God is in all of it, in all of it, in all of it. And what Sandy just said, my place, my role is to see where do I have to be thankful? What do I learn from it? Because all things are lessons that life is having me learn. All things are lessons that life is having me learn. So whatever situations that I've experienced that I didn't like, that hurt, that where I was shooting on it, it shouldn't have happened that way. It should have been this. Why did that have to happen? We should on everything. We should on everything. We need to stay out of the should house. That's our problem. We hang out in the should house. Get out of the should house. That's my quote. So put my name on it if you have to. but shooting on it as opposed to accepting, and that's the thing. Accept and release. Accept and release, because it is what it is. It really is all God. And if you look at it, God, good, spirit, energy, whatever word you choose to use, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't care. Whatever word you choose, somebody said to tell you, use good instead of God. It's the same thing. But it doesn't care. But we're trying to define God, and that's where the problem comes in. We think it should be a certain way. It is what it is.
I just wanted to add, when we're talking about changing your life and change your thinking, change your life, we also have to remember you have to change our behavior and our energy. It's a combination of going from your consciousness to your heart. So an important aspect also is, we always say change your thinking and what you feel inside. You've got to have that deep feeling of love. You've got to have that commitment. You have to have that energy. For years, I said, change your thinking, change your life, but recently I've come to really recognize and know the feeling of love, the feeling of energy that when you're experiencing this and forgiving, you're also feeling that love of that individual, that thing, that circumstances, because that's the underlying, so that which will change your behavior. Because if you're acting in a way and still thinking the old way, that's not it. You've got to change that energy and the love in your heart, to love everybody, to love everything, and see beyond the obvious. Thank you.
That feeling, being able to feel what it is that you intend, that you want, is so important. And it goes across your life. If you want to be successful, think that you're successful and feel it. Put yourself in that place and feel it. If you want to be happy, feel happy. Put yourself in that place to feel it. And that goes across.
I always got something to say, and I was sitting there saying, I ain't going to have nothing to say today. But, see, God is within me. So when God says speak, I believe that's what I heard, so I get up and speak. When God say, you got a belief in action because I'm working through you and you're listening to me, you get up and speak. So when I heard my brother over there trying to come up with what to call God, call it Callista when you feel like it. Call it Reverend Tawana when you feel like it. You know why? Because you know in your heart, when you hear the truth, it resonates. And I can tell you, the first time I realized when they tried to baptize me, they tried to drown me because they didn't tell me they were going to throw me in this water to make me all what I already knew I was and a bag of chips. I remember Reverend Sheila saying, I was on the second row. She says, you're whole, perfect, and complete. The tears started coming down. And I'm looking around because I know what I was doing, so she didn't know what she was talking about. But she knew her truth, so she could see the truth in me. And then I started believing it. So I started grabbing every book I could find that was not going to tell me I'm no good because I'm black, I'm no good because I'm a woman, I'm no good, all of that. I found some books. One was called This Thing Called You.
Yes, Lord.
Now, my grandmother took me to her knee and read the Bible. I take myself to the knee and I read This Thing Called You, because you know what it said? They forgot to say I'm all that in a bag of chips. They didn't know it. I interpreted, because in that book, it told me just who I was, and I was able to then remember what Reverend Sheila was saying. Whole, perfect, and complete. Why wouldn't I be? God, it, and let me tell you, when I was able to say she, that's when I knew I had overcome a lot of the stuff that was put in me. So no, you walked in here one day and you heard something that made you keep coming back, and we all keep coming back. That was that God in you, and you heard that inner voice, and we welcome you. You heard that clap, that means sit down.
That book, This Thing Called You, is by Ernest Holmes as well, by the way.
One of the things that I've come to understand from my experience in life is that I have gone through some challenges only to get to a present time. Those challenges gave me the lesson for me to get through circumstances that I did not foresee that I would be in. So everything's not always a problem or something happening to me. It's happening for me so that I can do what I need to do for me to move forward joyfully and love and happy.
There's a book, and I can't remember the exact, I think it's called The Seed of the Soul, maybe. But one of the things that I got from that, Seed of the Soul, and it may not be that book, or it may be The Care of the Soul. Care of the Soul. Care of the Soul. By Moore, yeah, Care of the Soul. But one of the things, by Thomas More, but one of the things that was said in that I just took, it just resonated so much with me, is that he said the soul will bring to itself that which it needs to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing. But your soul will seek the experiences, the circumstances that you need, that the soul needs to evolve. So when you find yourself in some circumstances a little uncomfortable, there's a lesson for you to learn. That's why it's coming to you. For whatever reason, however difficult, so see it that way and find the lesson. Find what it is in there that you need to learn.
It's on? Okay. I, too, am, well, I don't know if anybody said this. I'm triggered by all good, right? God is all good. I can accept that the duality, like yin and yang, there's light and dark, but there's no judgment on it. Like there's no qualitative word, light is light and dark is dark, or like a battery that has a positive charge and a negative charge. But those, I can accept that that is all encompassing of the one, right? But when we get to the point where I have to define the dark as good as opposed to just dark, that's where I just fall off.
And you said it, judgment. Yeah. That's the thing. It's about judging it. If we look at it, it just is.
I'm noticing every night when I go to bed and turn off all the lights, and for like 15 seconds, it's dark. And then I realize, no, it is not dark, because I can see. There is darkness. It really is nothing, no thing, as we say. It's just, it's a mind thing. What we're all talking about, it's a consciousness. We use the word think. We think we're thinking, but then is what are we really thinking inside? Our consciousness. Because we as humans are capable of saying things and say, I believe this, I believe that, but in our heart, we don't. And we're capable of saying these things and believing we think these things, but we really don't. We're just repeating. We're just repeating what we think we learned. So the part about this teaching is really about getting in control or aware of your consciousness. What are you really believing inside? Not what your mind is telling you, and not what you've memorized how to say. And that requires meditation classes, working with a practitioner, just being aware of your consciousness, those thoughts that are going through your head, and then there's what you think you're saying. You say, I believe in this, but inside you're going like, no, I don't. And are you aware that you really don't? Because we say things so much that we're not aware of what we're really believing in our hearts. And that's also where we create from. Consciousness and heart. They call brain-heart cohesion. And now the scientists are saying all this, and I'm just amazed that Ernest said all this in 1926. Yep. And he created this teaching, and came through him to teach us this teaching. And everything that he is teaching, this teaching is now being proven scientifically.
Deb, can I just footnote that Ernest pulled together a lot of ancient teachings. Yes. A lot of indigenous people already knew this, had a relationship with the planet and with the beyond. And it came through a lot of different people, and he was smart enough to go and look at all of them and pull out the commonalities of it and the understanding of how the universe actually works.
We're going to take one more question before we close.
Okay, to sum it up, consciousness, heart, feeling. What you're thinking, take that energy and stop and ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? That is the most important aspect. Feeling. I'm complete.
Just a question that comes up, and this will be the last one, and if you have some question regarding this, but a question that comes up a lot is, what are practitioners for, and what do they do? Many of us, you see us wearing the purple stoles, you see us going into the prayer room. We do a lot of things, but most importantly, we hold the consciousness for the center of peace. We hold that consciousness. We are also here for prayer, which we call affirmative treatment. We're here for prayer. We're here to pray. We have a prayer line, actually. We have, and so when someone asks for prayer, we put it out to the prayer line, and then each one of us says a prayer. And I'm telling you, prayer is so powerful. It is so powerful. What you do, what you pray for yourself individually, when we pray as a group, it is just so powerful. We're here every Sunday to do individual prayers with you. If you find a circumstance that you're feeling like you just really can't get through, or you need help, support, we hold that space for you. We say affirmative prayer for you. We also do sessions. We do spiritual counseling sessions with people if they feel like they need a one-on-one. So we're available to do that as well. Did I miss anything, y'all?
Is there a fee to come to practitioner as a session? I'm sorry. Is there a fee for coming to a practitioner for a session?
For our spiritual counseling sessions or spiritual coaching sessions, there is a fee. Each practitioner charges whatever they want to charge, so it may differ. But the fee is really not to pay us for something. It's really about your being conscious that what you're getting is of value to you. So we don't do it for free, but it's usually not. It's a nominal fee.
The prayer is free.
The prayer is free.
It's the time you're paying for and the consciousness and the 200 hours worth of training that we went through.
Time skill, that's right.
But it is not for prayer after service.
Right.
That doesn't have any fee.
What I wanted to say is don't hold back because you heard the word fee and you got to pay. As a practitioner, I often have people come and say, can I have a session? And when I say how much I charge, And I said, that's not what we're going to discuss right now. Just tell me what you want the session for. And then when I get into this session with the person, they said, well, how much do you charge? What is it? This is me personally. What is it that you would like to pay for this session? But don't ever not do a session because you don't have money in your pocket, because that's thinking lacking. And I tell people, I'm going to pay my bills whether you let me get some money from you. But what I will receive is the ability to pray, because Reverend Sheila said, when I pray for someone else, I'm praying for myself, because you attract to you what that prayer is that you need. So please, y'all, all come and ask Calista, because I need all the prayer in the world.
And just to piggyback on what Calista said, the fee, I know, fees that you pay the practitioner are also like tithing to the center, or tithing to whoever is feeding you and feeding your consciousness. Whether you tithe to the center, whether you tithe to an organization because they're feeding you, it's about you. About you having a consciousness that there is no lack in my life and I am able to give. And the more you give, believe me, the more you receive. And that I can consciously say I've experienced.
Me
So.
too.
Okay, so thank you all for participating. Yes, thank you all. And let's stand and have a prayer to close our Q&A session.
Practitioners?
Yeah, practitioners. We are ever grateful to Spirit, that life, that divine intelligence that is guiding each of us, that is at the essence of all of our beings, like a compass, taking us in the way that we are to go for greater unfoldment, for richer living, for greater expression of love, goodwill, compassion, and care. And for them helping us demonstrate our personal magnificence, our personal excellence. Thankful for all the questions, the talking back and forth, the answers that have been given, knowing that they will help us continue on our path. And we know that as we go forward, it is only good, good, and more good, because we claim it so and we put those words into the law. And so we continue to be a community where we support each other, where we hold each other up, and where each of us does our best to know the truth about each other. And that is that we are whole, that we are perfect, that we are complete, that we are one with Spirit, and that Spirit is ever available to us. We give thanks, and so it is.
And so it is. And as we move into the rest of our day, let's just know that Spirit is with us at all times. All questions are blessings, all answers are blessings. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Sue. Good job, good job.